time for the one and the only show. It's the Luke Howard Show. So, welcome your host. It's Luke Howard. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, what a lovely, lovely audience. Morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the show today. It's Tuesday, the 23rd of July. Hope everyone's well and, of course, are looking forward to today's show. We've got a fantastic, really good show lined up today. Lots of stuff to look forward to. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be playing music. We're going to be talking about the news. Got lots of news to talk about. We're going to be talking about we won't have to go soup in the smoke. I think it's like smoking in pub gardens sort of story, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. We're also going to be playing great music, and we're going to be talking about holiday flights half in price as staycations are going up. And we're going to be interviewing my wonderful great aunt Val all the way from the Amazon. But she's not currently living in the rainforest at this very moment, so we're going to be chatting to her because she's living in the mountains. I'm sure you remember when we last spoke to her. So, we're going to be chatting to her about what she's been up to at the moment. That's around about 10:30, so 10:25. So I'll be getting hold of her and we're going to have a little chat and a catch up to see how she is. I really hope she's okay because I'm really looking forward, because I haven't spoken to her actually since the last time we did the interview. So I'm going to be catching up with her on the show in around about 25 minutes. So do stick around for that because it's going to be amazing, absolutely brilliant. So stick around because it's going to be great. So, okay, let's talk. Let's start off by saying how you can get in touch then, because there's a number how you can get in touch with the show today. 07593 847 105 is the number to text or call. And if you have any questions you'd like to ask my wonderful great auntie Val, do go ahead, get in touch. It's that number. If you text, I would suggest start with the word talk and your name and where you're from, or you can call that number and we'll get straight back to you. And we can have a chat and I can write down your questions or whatever. Or you can find us on Instagram. It's at the Luke Howard fan page. Love to hear from you on there. Or you can find us on email. It's garyjhoward68@hotmail.com. That's my agent's email, by the way. Or if you don't want to get in touch with my agent, you can get in touch via me. That's my email, 345-457@student.hrc.ac.uk. That's 345-457@student.hrc.ac.uk. Okay. Or use the hashtags, hashtag Luke Howard, hashtag Luke Howard Show, or hashtag listen to the Luke Howard Show. Lots of great ways, of course, how you can get in touch with the show today. Of course, if you've got any questions for Great Aunt Val, or anything in general, what are you up to? Are you at home? Are you out and about? Are you at work? Are you working from home? How are you listening to the show today? Do let me know, and we'll give you a mention on the show, or whatever you're doing. Go ahead, feel free, and would love to hear from you. I really, really would. So get in touch. And we haven't had a lot of messages from anybody this week. So if you would love to get in touch, do feel free. Go for it, and we'll give you a big mention on Britain's best radio entertainment show. Okay, so let's start off then by talking about a piece of news that was in the news this morning. It only emerged about an hour ago, and it's coronavirus above inflation pay rise for almost 900,000 public sector workers. Now, almost 900,000 public sector workers are set to get an above inflation pay rise, including doctors and teachers. Now, Chancellor Rishi Sunak said he recognised their virtual contribution during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the Treasury said the money for the pay increases up to 3.1% and would come from expecting departmental budgets. Labour said if the rise would not make up for years or real terms cuts, and the British Medical Association and doctors had hoped for far better. Now, nurses are not included in the announcement because they neglected a 3-year deal back in 2018. Not all settlements will be UK-wide, though. Teachers in England and dentists and doctors across the UK will see the largest increase at 3.1% and a 2.8% respectively. Now, police, prison officers and National Crime Agency staff in England and Wales will be given a 2.5% rise in pay, while numbers of the armed forces across the UK will get 2%. Now, members of the Justice and senior civil servants across the UK will also see their part pay topped up by 2%. Chancellor Rishi Sunak has said that they must pass months and have underlined what we always knew, that our public sector workers have a virtual contribution to our country and that we can rely on them when we need them. The right is therefore that we all follow the recommendations of the independent pay bodies with the set of the real terms pay rises. Now, more than 300 NHS workers have died in England at this moment, long after contracting COVID-19. Many are doing so while caring for patients. Now, okay, the Shadow Chancellor, this is Annesley Dodds, has said the Conservatives had frozen public sector pay for 7 years, and the rises that they introduced after that, I think it was that they failed to plug the gap. And she also said the pay rise was good news, and that added that it won't make up for this decade of real-term pay cuts for many frontline workers. I mean, I know this is true, and I know it's good news about it, so get a pay rise on, get on with it is all I can say. Many other public sector workers, including those I think working on the front line in social care, won't get a pay rise really out of this all because the Tories haven't made good on their promises to boost local authority funding the Labour MP. It's not fair as well, and there's no way to reward those who've been at this front of fighting this pandemic. Of course, they're right all the way. You see, this is why we trust news channels like BBC and all that, because they're very, very good news channel, and I've got this all from there, and I've done a little research on it, and that's how I find out about this stuff, and then I just make it up. So they say it's not fair though, because it's no way to reward those who've been at this forefront of fighting this. And Kit Malthouse, the Crime and Policy Minister, he said that the vast majority of social care workers were actually employed with this private sector to the government's ability to influence pay rates, and it is not limited. He told Radio 4, we believe, the Today programme, which is on in the morning on Radio 4, I think 6 in the morning till 9, and then 7 till 9 on Saturdays it's on. But he told the government that there had been a raising the level of the national minimum wage, and they hoped that would push through these private sector jobs. Now, they're also saying analyses, because after several months of sweating it out on the front line of the unexpected crisis, there is some welcome news for almost 1 million key public sector workers. But economists say that once inflation is stripped out, average pay for public sector workers remains below levels which were seen back in 2010. Would you believe that was 10 years ago? A very long time, wasn't it? Very, very long time. I couldn't believe it. And it was due to pay freezes or very modest increases on the years of austerity, and that also followed. The departments won't get extra funding to pay for these rises. A reminder that the government is still having to watch the pennies and pounds as it faces its biggest deflect in its finances in peacetime. The Treasury claims that pay awards are assessed for availability, that they shouldn't affect the provision of public services. But budgets are already under pressure in some areas, and schools, for example, where extra costs have been arising and income streams are from the likes of clubs, and they have disappeared in these cases. And of course their pay rises might well pose from tough questions. Every year, independent pay review bodies recommend pay rises for, I would believe, sectors, and the government said it had accepted their suggestions for 2020, which is this year, till next year, which is 2021. The pay awards for the armed forces, prison officers and senior civil servants and NHS altogether staff will be backdated in April to the Treasury. And however, the pay rise for police and teachers starts in September this year is due to those professions operating on a different pay schedule running from September to August. Now, Dr. David Wrigley, which is the Vice Chairman of the British Medical Association, said doctors would feel disappointed and let down by the announcement as pay has fallen and way behind and where it should be, and they are hoping for a far better than a 2.8% increase. They told a news programme that they are the sort of rises that they'd expected though to see in normal times, and it's not a timing with many of us have not had a day off in 6 months and have been putting out lives on this line. And so very interesting. And we'll leave that story, we will leave there. Right, okay, so coming away now from the news, let's talk about... we won't have to go sup in smoke, because I did say that we was going to talk about this story, basically what it is, outdoor non-smoking areas as called mask manufacturing ramps up. Now, pubs, of course, restaurants, cafes must offer non-smoking areas outside the government. The government has also said that lighting up in venues has been banned in England since July 2007. But indoor puffing has been allowed. I'm very, very disappointed in that. I mean, they can't smoke inside. If they can't smoke outside, then they obviously can't smoke inside either. But with the more non-smoking customers in beer gardens and outside restaurants, tables because of social distancing, we know that. Campaigners here, of course, have called for a ban on the habit anywhere on premises, including outdoors. Ministers the other night actually rejected such a move, but still forced businesses, as in England, to offer a separate outside seating areas with non-smokers and of course, smoking and non-smokers at all. Now, Chris Pincher, which is the planning minister, said that these changes will allow everyone to these changes and will allow everyone to enjoy outdoor eating and drinking where they can smoke or not smoke at all. So, it comes as the government announced the other day that British factories will produce millions of face masks per week. The country braces for a second wave of COVID-19 infections and deaths. Face coverings become mandatory in shops in England, by the way, from this Friday. So if you are going to a shop on Friday, any shop, from a supermarket to gift shop to any sort of shop, whether it's a sweet shop or anything like that, then you will have to wear a mask, okay? I don't actually know if you have to wear one if you're outside. Think about that one. But it comes as the government announced, of course, the British factories and, of course, face coverings became mandatory. And early days of this crisis were overshadowed by shortages of personal protective equipment for NHS and care staff. And ministers are determined to avoid a repeat of such problems. Factories in, we believe, Port Talbot, South Wales, and Blackburn, in Lancashire, are already reportedly producing masks. Michael Gove, Cabinet Office Minister. Now, he said that this is a major step to ensure that this country can meet any increase in the demand for face coverings. These protection lines will be able to get millions of face coverings to the public without putting any additional pressure on NHS supply chains. Now, Boris Johnson the other day, he played down the chances of a second national coronavirus lockdown being needed. The Prime Minister said, I can't abandon that at all anymore. He said, I would abandon a nuclear terrorment, but it's like a nuclear terrorment. I certainly don't want to use it, he said, and nor do I think we will in that position again. It's not just what they are getting much better at, spotting the disease and isolating it locally, but we all understand that far more which groups, if it affects, and how it's transmitted. So the possibility of different types of segmentation of patched shielding for particular groups is now there. Mr Johnson admitted that he was not betting on a vaccine, saying that we haven't got one for SARS, and it has been 18 years. The PMs believe that he can avoid another national lockdown once again has put him at odds with the chief scientific advisor, Sir Patrick Vallance, who said last week that come winter, the challenges will be very much greater. Of course they will. Winter's going to come and this is going to get worse. Of course it's going to get worse, this virus. I mean, whatever happens, it's going to get worse over these months, would you believe? I mean, of course, winter's going to come and then it's going to get worse. So, I mean, I also heard in the news the other day that Boris thinks that it's all going to be over by October, November, and I don't actually think that's going to be right. Why would it be over by then? Of course it's not. Mr Johnson's demercial of a second lockdown comes amid warnings from a senior civil servant over the effectiveness of the test and the trace systems. Alex Cooper, the senior responsibility owner for 2 of the 5 pillars of the government's testing programme, said that if an industry briefing, we are identifying around a third of people and are really should be finding. We need to be finding roughly half of the people that have COVID, and if tests and trace is going to work. The first face-to-face cabinet meeting for nearly 4 months is to be held. Was held yesterday. Actually, was held yesterday. Oh no! It's being held today. this meeting. It's going to be held today. We will let you know. We'll keep you updated about the meeting as well. And top team will be 2 metres apart, and it will also be allowed to wear masks when they meet in the Foreign Office's urinal suite. The usual table at number 10 is too small, of course, to seat them all, and with the social distancing, number 10, which has been calling for workers to return to their offices, hopes the significant move will encourage ordinarily people and will go back to work. But Keir Starmer accused the PM of putting parents in an impossible position by using a return to offices over the summer break, while failing to provide equivalent support for childcare, holiday activities and to catch-up schemes. The Labour leader said that